So we're here today in the England Media Centre. We're taking the hot seat that Trent Alexander-Arnold, now Johnny Northcroft of the Sunday Times, is sitting in. And this is the latest FWA William Hill bulletin from the World Cup. We've got an update on Gareth Southgate's fitness. Unusually for once, we're interested in the manager's fitness. So just run through what was the situation this morning in training.
Well, the big news from training was he didn't wear the sling. We were all waiting to see if it would compromise Gareth and his training activities. The shoulder injury, he came out and he actually looked moving quite freely, no sling. So perhaps it's going to be a miraculous recovery, and England aren't going to be affected by shoulder-gate too much.
Shoulder-gate, oh, it's one of those. But Dele Alli is still touch and go, isn't he, for the weekend? That thigh injury, what was the update there?
Yeah, Dele didn't train, and it's certainly not looking good for him to play at the weekend. In fact, I think we can almost write him off now in terms of the Panama game. The big question is, does he recover in time to play Belgium? And the vibes at the moment are that it's not going to be so serious that he might be out of the tournament, but he might still be struggling to make that Belgium game. Of course, if England win against Panama, they're pretty much through, so it would work out okay. You know, he could miss that Belgium game without it affecting anyone.
And obviously there was the substitution at the week in the last game against Tunisia showed that certainly Ruben Loftus-Cheek can be a very good replacement and possibly start this one.
I think it's a really interesting one. Gareth loves Ruben Loftus-Cheek. After he made his debut in November, his enthusiasm was clear for Ruben, and I think listening to him at that point, we were all thinking this lad's going to be in the World Cup if he has half a decent season. And even then, even when he was injured, you know, Gareth was sort of holding a place open for him. So he's very much been in his plans. I thought he had a little bit of a chance actually of even starting. So the fact that there's now an injury, I think he's a natural replacement, and of course he did very well in that cameo when he came on.
And one of the questions really about England is, you know, Harry Kane. Obviously, he's now second favourite, I think, in the for the Golden Boot. But he's always the sort of first goal scorer favourite for England. But he's the only goal scorer at the moment, isn't he? That's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think only goal scorer odds would be very useful for Harry Kane. It is a worry, but you know, you can look at it two ways. There are players plainly who can score goals in the team. They haven't done it up till now, but at least they're there with club form, and if that can be unlocked maybe through Alan Russell, the striker coach, or just getting them mentally right. You know, what I'm trying to say is, once somebody like Raheem Sterling or Dele Alli won't play, but once these lads start scoring, they do have goals in them. You know they're capable of doing so. It is a worry that they haven't done so up till now, but Panama are quite good opposition to be playing at this stage. You know, if you want to give Raheem a game to score, or even give Rashford a chance, it's not a bad opposition to go against. Harry for the Golden Boot, though, that's a tough ask, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, depends how far England can go, really, can't it?
That's the key, Jerry, because if you look at the Golden Boot winners, they tend to play for teams that have gone at least to the quarterfinals, if not further. I think the last couple of World Cups, the mark has been round about 6. Ronaldo's got 4 already. Looks like Portugal are going to be in the second round. Even if they go out at that stage, he might leave the tournament with sort of 7. So Harry would have his work cut out. I think he'd need England to take him to at least the quarterfinals to have a chance. But in terms of the favourites, nobody's really scoring freely. I know Diego Costa's got 3, but Harry will think he can do it, won't he?
Of course he will. Full of confidence. Now, we've touched on shoulder gate. Also today we had team sheet gate. If we got gates, we got gates. It seems that Sterling's out of the squad if that piece of paper that Steve Holland was seen carrying around on the training ground, or out of the team, certainly. It's
amazing how often history repeats itself. I mean, we've seen these spy stories so often, and you know, the coaches never seem to learn that the camera guys we've got are pretty good, and they've got long lenses.
Or could it be bluff and double bluff?
Could it be bluff? I mean, looking at this sheet, it didn't look definitive to me. That's all I'd say. It didn't look to me like, it looked like a training exercise sheet. It didn't look like a definitive team sheet. So I'd read a bit into it, but not too much.
And there's still time to go. I mean, they can change their mind. They can be trying something out today, can't they? So it's not.
If it was day before a game, you know, of team shape day, you'd you'd really think, well, that's going to be it. But there is a bit of time, and of course, there's sort of fitness issues to unravel as well. Maybe players will be in a different state tomorrow.
And I think one of the questions is Raheem Sterling suited to that number 10 position? Because playing against a packed defence where he doesn't get a chance to use his pace, which is one of his great assets, playing with his back to goal perhaps, is he better playing wide? Is it better playing someone else in there?
I'm a big fan of Raheem, and I like him in that role. I think, yes, he's got great pace, and it's lovely for him when he can run on into space, coming in from wide. We know how good he is. I think he can play that role as well, because another thing he's got is fantastic ability when he receives the ball. He's one of the best in the squad at doing it. The way he can receive and turn at the same time and then beat the player, that's ideal to play number 10 in many ways. He just needs to score. He just needs to start getting some numbers on the board in that sense. But I think he's looked quite good with Harry Kane so far as a partnership. He just hasn't done his share of scoring. And that's my only question. I'd play him. I'd give him a chance to score against Panama and get himself up and running. And
then we would expect that England-Belgium then becomes the game that will determine the 1 and 2 from the group. But when we were looking at it before, we were thinking maybe Poland or Colombia in the last 16, but that could be different now, couldn't it?
It could be Japan and Senegal. I mean, the thing about that group, that last group, Group H, you've got 4 teams who are pretty much of the same level, and it's a decent level. It's not, they're not the top teams in the tournament, but they're all setting a certain standard. So I actually think whoever England get, it'll be a tricky game. It'll be a tricky enough game. I actually didn't think Poland looked anything like they're capable of being. So whether they can recover from that, I don't know. Senegal looked like pretty handy side, but as I say, whoever England get, it'll be a little bit tricky in that game, and not one to take lightly.
And we're now getting into the second round of games. Are there any patterns emerging? Or are there any teams? I mean, Spain last night, they didn't really, not massively convincing against Iran.
I'd say if there's a pattern, it's that this is a very open World Cup. It reminds me a little bit of 2006, where Italy were a bit unfancied and they went all the way. In fact, France were a bit unfancied. They went all the way as well to the final. There's nobody outstanding. Germany we've seen have got big problems. Spain play some nice football, but they've got some issues. Brazil maybe are the team that are going to grow slowly in this World Cup. Didn't start well, but they could improve. But nothing I've seen so far suggests that there's not an outstanding side like there was Germany 4 years ago, Spain in 2010. It's a really open tournament.
So if you had to put your money on someone now, you'd be keep your powder dry a bit, would you? Or spreading your bets.
I'm from Aberdeen. It's hard to part me with my money. But I would still be betting on Brazil. They were my tips for the tournament beforehand. I think they've got the best tournament experience. They've got a really good side.
Looks like Neymar's fit as well.
Looks like Neymar's fit, and he should get better as he gets more match practice. They've got talent to burn. I know they didn't start brilliantly, but they still got a result. So they'd be my tip at the moment.
Fantastic. Johnny Northcroft, thanks for joining us today. Keep coming back for the William Hill FWA podcast.